Hey, this is Patrick with Nashville Unsigned, and we're here at Namm with Justin Stewart. And Justin Stewart is one of the experts here at the custom shop wall. And one of the things that we noticed, we were like walking through, we were looking at some of these guitars, and I know that these are new models, but there's something special about these. And tell us about it.
Yeah, so there's something special about like a real vintage guitar that's been played a ton. I think Eric Clapton compared it to like a good restaurant. Like, if you walk by a place and there's tons of people and there's a line out the door, food must be good, right?
Right.
So, like, same thing with guitars. If you walk by a guitar that's like just beat up and it's just been played and there's marks on the fretboard,
Then
like,
you know it has its 10,000 hours.
you know that someone loved that guitar
Yeah.
and it's been played, and so when you pick it up, there's a thing to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a comfortability. The paint's worn off the back of the neck. It's just
It's mature. It's already kind of settled in. It's gotten its teenage years out of the way.
Yeah, it's refined. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, let's get down to business. You know,
Right,
you don't have
right.
to worry about dinging it because it's already got the dings. You know.
Yeah.
So what's really cool is that we have a team of people in the custom shop that specializes just in relicing these guitars. So
By hand.
yeah, and so basically, it's a creative art form, really, more than anything. They're creating stories, so they'll think up a story about the person who played the guitar. Maybe they were a rock and roll guitar player in a touring band in the 70s,
Right.
and like the belt buckle wears like right here, so they played it like right here. Some pick marks, maybe they missed the input jack a couple times, so they would dig the paint out here, and
Right.
what you get is something that's like, a lot of people come by and they ask, like, so are these real? And we're like, yeah, they're real guitars. And
Yeah.
I mean, are they like, oh, no, they're
Yeah.
brand new. Wait, what? Like, mine is totally blown,
Right.
because I think in terms of the relicing, we have the art and the science down. I haven't seen any other relics that look as good as the ones we do.
Yeah.
And, feeling the guitar, it's just like, oh, man, it has a thing to it. So
Maybe like smoke the wood or burn the wood or something.
yeah. So that's another thing. To simulate the aging, we'll roast the wood. So we actually cook the body and the neck on this one. So this is it. This is pretty much like a 1960s Strat. If you just look at it, the spec, the dot spacing, the pick guard, the decal, the string tree, all that stuff is in the right places. But
Now, how do they go about stress fracturing the paint?
I can't tell you that.
Because
actually.
that's about as real as it looks.
Yeah.
I figured you'd almost take a Stratocaster from the 1960s, drop it on this wall, and nobody would know the difference of which one was which.
Yeah, exactly. So there's certain things that we don't reveal, behind the curtain stuff.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this: we don't drag them behind the back of our car in the parking lot.
Right.
There's certain techniques that we use. It involves tools and temperature changes.
Yeah.
And that's about as in depth as I can tell you. But, But the way that they do it, I think they have it down to a pretty accurate science where you could fool most people, say which one's real or which one's the vintage one, which one's the new one. So,
Right.
But the cool part about these is that, it's a 1960s Strat, right? But roasted neck, roasted body, which dries out the wood slightly. So, like an older guitar from the 50s, the moisture's all gone from the wood, and that's part of what makes it resonate and sound as good as it does.
Sound, yeah.
But it also darkens the color a little bit, and it makes the wood more resonant. It looks cool. It's a little bit lighter in weight too, because obviously the moisture's gone.
Yeah.
And then what we did on this guitar is we flattened out the fretboard. So instead of a vintage 7 1/4 radius, this has a 12-inch radius, jumbo frets, hand wound Ancho Poblano pickups, and then it's got a modern wiring. So it's everything you could want for a player guitar. You're not going to fret out up here on the higher frets. It plays super smooth with the jumbo frets. And the neck shape, it's a 60s C, oval C shape, which is one of the most popular ones.
And where can you get these? Are these like rolling out to like all Fender like?
So this specific one is going to Wilcott Guitars in Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Most of these things are
but you can-
made to spec and ordered online and then sent out.
So we make everything to order. So when you order your guitar through a dealer, as soon as it's ordered, we make your guitar from scratch when the order is in.
And then send it out.
And then we send it out. So you're not getting the stock one off the shelf. We don't build stock. We only build customer orders, specific ones. So these are all limited edition. These ones that we brought out here, these are the mid-year limited edition releases. They'll be available for 1 year, and then next year we'll come out with the new ones, and these ones will go away.
Well, it's really cool. And I think the years that you're focusing, it looks like a lot of them are 60s and 70s.
Yeah,
currently.
Well, more like 50s and 60s, with the exception of the Artisan, which is something that's totally new. We can talk about that if you want. But
sure, I'm always about it.
Yeah. All right. Let's
Come on
check out
this
the
way.
Artisan. So
that's a beautiful guitar for sure.
The Artisan models, everyone says, oh, like all you guys do is relics. You know, you're just beating up guitars. It's like, well, a big part of our business is actually NOS guitars, or guitars that look brand new and are shiny, and that's the Artisan line. So basically, it showcases exotic woods, some cool new pickups. This one particularly, we'll start with the body. It's a Fiji mahogany body, hollow body, chambered with the F-hole. I guess it's a maple burl top, so you get this crazy figuring. Almost looks like oil on water or something.
Yeah, or marble almost.
Yeah, it's just really beautiful. The neck wood is a roasted bird's eye maple, and then you got African blackwood for the fretboard, so it's going to be super dark.
Wow.
We gave this tortoiseshell binding on the side, and then herringbone purfling, like you would see on an acoustic. The pickups are 51 Nocasters, but they're actually a newer model called the loaded Nocaster, which uses a thicker wire. This is a open loaded Nocaster on the neck pickup, which has an open top, exposes the pole pieces to the strings.
Yeah.
And then this has a vintage bridge with RSD brass saddles. So they're compensated so you can intonate it perfectly, but you still retain that vintage brass saddle sound. It's got a fat 50s wiring, so it's similar to a wiring that was done in the 1950s, which works really well for a telly. Yeah. So,
well, man, they're all beautiful guitars, and this one looks a lot like a guitar that I let slip through my hands maybe about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it still is hurting me to this day.
That's always the case, right?
Yeah. It's like a love affair, and this guitar has escaped me. It was in New York City. An old lady, apparently her son swore off music or moved away or something, and she was selling it for $600, and it was like a 1965 Telly, looked exactly like that, and I was like, you have to take cash, say, yeah, I'm going to go, I'm going to be right back, but in New York City, you say you're going to come right back. I did come right back, but somebody else got there before I did with $600 cash.
No way.
And I lost
$600?
$600.
Oh, that's a pretty
She didn't know
deal.
what she had, you know?
Man.
And so to this day, I'm still looking for her. One day I will find her again. But anyway, Justin, thank you so much for running us through this Fender's custom wall and all this cool stuff that they're doing to just bring you old vintage guitars with all new parts. So that it sounds like a baby, but feels like an old man. Patrick Larney with Naked Underneath. Not Naked Underneath, that was my band when I was a long time ago. Same initials though.
Cool name.
Nashville Unsigned. Sorry. Peace, we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.